Hey guys, here we are again at the Beast Zone. We got another killer drummer here. We're going to pick his brain. We're going to see what he likes, what he doesn't like, and give us some insight on the local scene. And maybe, perhaps, we can get him to play a little bit for us, show us what he's got and stuff. But before we get to that, we'll talk about the channel. So this channel, the Beast Zone, is primarily for local area drummers, just to get their input on stuff that's going on, kind of a one-on-one deal, just to see what's going on and let you see how they started their career and how they came about to where they are right now. So if you go to the Beast Ochoa on the YouTube channel, that's where these interviews will be. But if you subscribe, then I'm pretty sure you'll get some kind of notification when I upload one, because I got lots of guys lined up and I've already interviewed lots of guys. It's just a time scheduling to get them out, so you can see them. So with that, we're going to go ahead and introduce our guest for today, Kevin Gilmore. How's it going, brother?
It's going good.
Awesome. I'm really glad you are here. You're a pretty cool cat here in town. You play in a great, awesome band, and I've seen y'all play many times. I know y'all play a lot out of town and stuff, and you play with a lot of bands and stuff. And we just, kind of just want to know, just take us back to like when you first started, like how old you was maybe, and like just how Kevin started playing drums. I mean, take us to the beginning and tell us how it happened.
It was kind of weird. I didn't want to be a drummer. I never wanted to even. It just didn't. And it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I just didn't even think about it. Okay. I wanted to be the guitar player. I wanted to be the lead singer. Okay. That was my whole thing. Everything I did in my life was strings. I played viola in school, and I took guitar theory for a while. And what really happened was a friend of mine had a drum kit, and I thought drum sets were cool. Anytime I saw one, I was like, man, that's really awesome. And I wanted to go mess around on it. But a friend of mine got a drum kit. And then I used to go over to his house and watch him, and he would play just this normal funk beat, just like, dum dum da 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 da, just kind of a very simplified, funk beat. And I started kind of getting obsessed with that, and I started trying to do what he did. And then I caught it real quick, and I just kept going over to his house, messing around on the drums. I was still pursuing other things.
Now, how old are we?
This was about 14. This was about 14.
Okay, 14 years
old. It was about 14 years old when I just started messing around on my friend's kit.
Right.
And it was just kind of a little hobby thing.
Right.
We were living in Allen, Texas, a suburb of Dallas, and Plano. It's like right next to Plano.
Right.
But my dad did what he always does, and he abruptly moved us from Allen to Wichita Falls.
Really? Okay.
And one of my things that I complained to him about was, I got no drum set to play. What the hell?
Oh, right.
But
away from that.
My dad and my stepmom especially, they were all musicians. My dad played in rock bands back in the 60s.
Really? That's awesome.
And my stepmom, she used to play keyboards and keybase in lots of local bands and stuff like that. But it's funny because my dad's from New York, so he was Long Island, where all that was going down, and then my stepmom was San Angelo. Okay. But we always had a lot of mismatched parts. We had, amplifiers, keyboards.
Yeah, right.
But there was pieces of a drum set. Okay. And it was an old Ludwig. But it was just these shells with horrible heads that had been just
all beat up with big old
really bad. It was just basically paper.
Yeah.
But what I didn't have all the necessary parts. So what I did was I Frankensteined a kit together, and then like basically the bass pedal had no chain. So what I did was I took a coat hanger and I wrapped it through with these pliers until it was until it finally went. I had just the bottom part, just the legs of an old, tiny, crappy cymbal stand.
Right.
So I took a drumstick, shoved it in the hole, put that on my dad's workbench, put that right in front of me, and that was my cymbal.
Oh, wow.
Right there.
Okay.
And I used my mom's amplifier for a drum drum.
Oh, my goodness.
Which a lot of people have always noticed. I play very low. Okay. Like, anytime anyone gets on my drum drum, they're like, what the hell?
Hey, dude, I'm the same way.
It's all because I learned on that little amplifier and where I had to put everything for, my little Frankenstein kit.
You're kind of a tall guy, and usually tall guys either like to sit up higher or have their cymbals up higher.
I like my legs a little bit, It's weird.
Cool.
I don't understand why. But no, I started once I Frankenstein this kit together. just became a hobby, just became
right.
something every day because my dad had moved me to Burke Burnett at first. It was Wichita Falls later, but Burke Burnett. Those kids hated me. They didn't like me at all.
Like you at
So I
all.
didn't have any friends, didn't have things going on. So I would just go home and play on my drums for hours until city ordinance.
So so you're jamming out, you're playing drums, whatever. But what's in your mind as far as like what's the music that you're digging at the time were you wanting to play drums? I mean, what music?
At the time, well, I mean, punk rock has always been my biggest influence. Ever since I was a little kid.
Okay.
Anytime I saw spiked hair and leather jackets and all that shit, I would always get so stoked. And my brother actually gave me a tape when I was a kid. Now, on one side was the Dead Milkmen, Big Lizard in My Backyard, which is a tremendous album. Very first song on there is called Bitchin' Camaro.
Oh, wow.
The first lyrics are Bitchin' Camaro, I ran over my neighbors. Bitchin' Camaro, now I'm in all the papers. And then it just goes
I have
from
to check
there.
that out.
The Dead Milkmen are a staple.
Wow.
And on the other side was Bikini Kill.
Okay.
And I love Bikini Kill. Kathleen Hanna, she's actually married to Ad Rock from Beastie Boys.
Okay,
Because they all used to play shows
okay.
together back in their punk rock days. But anyways, that tape got me full force into punk rock. And as I grew up, everything kind of revolved around that. But about that time was when Nirvana was really hitting hard.
Okay.
And I was one of the kids that
so that's early 90s.
Yeah, this was about 90, I think.
Okay.
Maybe
90.
about 90, maybe 91.
Okay.
And I was really into that. And what I started doing, and I didn't even realize this, I was taking Nirvana's Nevermind and I was playing along with my tape in my garage constantly, learning every single song, which taught me how to separate all my arms.
Sure.
Once you learn how to do Smells Like Teen Spirit,
you know, exactly.
everything becomes separated.
Yes.
So I finally did that through that. And what was hilarious was I was going to, I don't know if you heard of a place called The Refuge back in the day. It was the all ages show.
That place.
Yeah, we would always go there. I'd have my parents drop me off, and I was just a little scumball kid. So like I would couch surf on the weekends just so I could go to these shows and like meet people, get tips from people. But I used to always tell people like, "What do you play?" And I'd be like, "Oh, guitar or bass or something like that." And then I remember one day I just been playing the drums for so long. Somebody was like, "Do you play anything?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I play the drums." And that's when like everything stopped and everyone looked like, "Are you serious? We need a drummer now!"
Wow.
Like it never happened like that. Anytime I'm guitar, bass, they're like, "Well, okay, great, wow, me too." But once I said drums, that was the first time I got that reaction.
Wow,
and
that's cool.
I jammed out with some guys. It was, it was
local
shit.
guys here?
Yeah, I mean, these guys aren't even around here anymore. But yeah, no, it was awful. It was very awful.
But it was the beginning.
Shit.
I mean,
but it was the beginning of it, you know. And it was weird because I remember when I said it, I was meaning to say guitar, and I said drums, and then I was like, wait a minute, I actually am playing drums way more than anything else I'm doing. And so we started playing some, we started playing some shows at the Refuge in some of my later bands.
Okay.
And it was really Chris Burney from Bowling for Soup because he's the one that ran that place. He's the one that gave us our first shot. He's the one that gave me my first show.
That's awesome.
Gave me my first, walking up to 16-year-old me and being like, "Hey, you got 5 minutes," and me being like,
wow.
"Oh God, all right, okay, hold on."
Put me on the spot.
Hold on. But I still remember that day, that very first show I played. We had played a couple little parties and stuff like that, but this was the first show I played where we were in the green room, and then like there's people fucking everywhere, and I get that whole 5-minute thing. But what was funny was I remember I wanted to puke when I heard that 5 minutes, and then I just got up, sucked it up, walked out there, got on stage, got behind the drums, and then everyone screamed and everyone started clapping, and I was like, "Oh shit, never mind. This is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life." And it's been that way ever since.
So where did you progress from that? From there, I mean, to your next group or next.
I mean, I went through many bands.
As we all do.
Yeah,
as we all do.
A lot of different weird things, that most of it was all kind of based around punk rock. There was one ska reggae band. We were called Chillum, and we did all right around here for a little while. That was one of my last, bands that was actually kind of doing stuff, because the other bands we just screwed around, played some shows in town and stuff like that.
Do you think there was like, I mean, a lot of people that were into the same thing that you were into, or did you think there was only like a small handful of people? And I mean, I don't know. I mean,
this town's weird.
It is.
I mean, it's I've seen so many different scenes come and go. I've never thought like what you're saying there. It's always just it's gone up and down. There is such an ebb and flow to what everyone's into, what everyone's doing, that I don't know. It's maybe, but people move away,
Yeah,
and
Well,
or just
I mean,
get, or grow up and go do other things, stuff like that. So
yeah. I mean, to me, it's like there's always it's a lot of bands play, and then you'll see another group emerge, and then it'll be some remnants of this band and that band, and whatever. But a lot of times they're putting something together a little bit different, so that kind of helps, get a little more variety of music.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your thought as far as like on the local scene? Say like today, like what you see now. Do you think there needs to be more original bands? Do you like having tributes and cover? I mean, what's your thoughts on the other types of bands?
See, and again, same thing. I've watched it. I've watched so many different levels of what's going on. And right now, there are definitely less original bands than there used to be. There's been plenty of times where I've seen just like just a whole slew of bands that were doing just different things. Stuff you couldn't pin down.
Right.
Yes. And right now it seems like there's not as much as that.
Okay.
And I mean, I like the tribute bands and I like the cover bands and everything like that. It's not for me to even say should we have more of this or more of that. It's what everybody wants to see.
There's always an audience for something.
Exactly.
There's always an audience for something.
I mean, if people want more of this or that, that's up to the audience.
My only thing about this town, which I know it's not Dallas Fort Worth, it's not San Antonio or Houston. It's there's just not a lot of there's only very limited places to play.
Yeah, no, we don't have a big venue, menu.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
There's
and that's the only thing is it's like, man, I wish, but
it's like we've got the pub, and that's been basically a staple for a long time.
Yeah, it has.
And
just imagine if
Deep
we didn't
End
have
is
it.
All right, I like Deep End. It's great.
Oh, sure,
it just
absolutely.
I'd like if they actually had like a stage, but I mean, like I do. The floor shows are cool.
They are.
And their sound actually works out when you go in there. Because there's been playing. I remember the first time we were going there, and I was like, "Oh shit, we're not miking the drums or anything." And then when we started playing, and then when I started watching the bands, I was like, "Oh, okay, never mind. This is actually the room." The acoustics are perfect for it. So
sure.
But those are. I know we got a couple other places, but yeah, those are right now the two.
Well, okay, so
that we got.
so leading up to what you're doing right now, tell us what you've been doing up to this point right now.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, with my band, It Hurts to Be Dead.
Yes.
We've just been like, we went through we've been through so many different metamorphoses.
Right.
I don't know. What is that? But we definitely we've changed a little bit. We changed members and or a couple of members. We got a new bass player, and now we've got Polly Pocket on keys with us.
I saw that.
Yeah, so
that's another dimension.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It adds a whole new layer, and it's something that we had wanted to do for a long time. But our old bass player, I mean, he didn't want to do that.
Nick.
And we're diplomatic about it. So we try to make sure that it's like if one person doesn't like it, we're not going for it. So
that's good.
and that when he went to go do his other stuff, we were like, okay, well now's the time to try this out, and it gelled real well. And we've just been trying to. We recorded an EP.
Okay.
We've got it released. We're still trying to get it out on all the platforms right now. So we're trying to set up some different stuff.
How much recording stuff does It Hurts to Be Dead have?
Oh, we've got 4.
Okay.
4. Yeah, we got like I think we got 2 EPs and 2 full lengths.
Okay.
So one of them, our very first one, that we just. I mean, it's out there, but I don't ever tell anybody about it. It's like one of those ones where I'm just like, yeah, it is. You can find it.
If you can find it,
if you want to. I'm not going to show you the way because it's not my favorite. I mean, it's got some good gems in it, but it's like I don't know. It's just it was so long ago, and it's a bit different. Plus, we had just lost. We had 4 members in the band before, and we had a lead guitarist.
Oh, okay.
And right before we did our first one. A dude just up and quit, so we just kind of had to we had to retool everything because we were in the studio. I think the next week, so we just had to kind of be like, all right, well, we're just gonna try to fix it like this and be a 3-piece. So that's another reason why the first one isn't exactly my favorite because we didn't have enough time to get down the way we wanted to really do it.
So where do you record when you do recordings?
We've recorded different places each time. The first one. Oh God! Yeah, I forgot his name. He was in Iowa Park though.
Okay,
Was
okay.
in Iowa
That's
Park.
close enough.
Oh my god! And then let's see then the second one we did. We actually did in our studio, and we had
Okay.
Jeff Catlin do it
Yes,
whenever he
yes,
was
yes.
recording.
Mhm.
And then our third one, we actually did in Deep Ellum. Josh from the Fuss and now the Vandaliers, and oh god, why am I forgetting? I'm blanking on his name. The guy from the O's. Oh man, if he ever sees this, he'd be so mad at me. But yeah, they recorded us in Deep
Okay,
Ellum,
okay.
and that was a really cool honor to be on that because that
Oh,
was
wow. That's
that was a good studio. In fact, I got to what I recorded with for Old Habits and Diehards. The drum set I played on belongs to the drummer for the Polyphonic Spree.
Oh, okay.
So I got to play
Oh,
on his
wow.
kit for the album.
Oh
So.
wow! So as far as recording, I mean, did you use a click track?
I've used a click track on every album except for this last one, except for this last EP.
So was that an option, or was that?
It was an option, but we just decided we're like, you know what, screw it. Let's do a live. Let's just go
Okay.
ahead and do a
That's
live
cool.
one, you know, because
That's awesome.
yeah, I mean, yeah, almost all the first three, all of them are on click track,
Okay.
but you know, there's some of these songs that there are push and pull that I'm like, I don't want to bring a click track into it, you know.
Well,
I mean,
because
half
you're
the time-
committed, you got to commit yourself
Yeah.
to that click. I mean, once you started, you got to stay with it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like I've practiced enough with that. Like I got an electronic kit a long time ago,
Oh, okay.
and
All right.
almost 15, 20 years ago, something like that.
Uh-huh.
And it's I started focusing on just playing with the metronome, you know,
Right.
just playing
Yes,
with the click
yes,
track
yes,
because.
exactly.
One of the first times I ever recorded in a big studio was Casey Diorio from Valve Studios. He used to record Bowling for Soup and all that,
Okay,
and his
okay.
band Valve.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But again, we got hooked up by Chris Burney.
Right.
You know, he was
Okay.
like he got
That's
us
awesome.
he got us in there with my band Chillum,
Okay.
and I was a very unseasoned kid at
Yeah,
the time.
right.
And that dude Casey, man, he doesn't mince words. He's a very good producer.
Yeah, well-
but you know, that was my first time being around
Yeah.
something like that. But
Yeah.
like when he hit us all up, he said instructions for the drummer: make sure that you have brand new heads, that they're all tuned.
So
And
you took your drums.
I took my
Okay,
drums.
okay.
I took my
Okay.
drums, and then I showed up, and he looked at my drums,
Mm-hmm.
and he just said, "I told you to have new heads and to have them tuned."
Oh, my goodness.
And
Oh,
I
my
just
God.
looked at him, and I was like, "I'm a broke guy. I'm sorry." And then I had to reveal the second truth. I
Yeah.
don't know how to tune my
Yeah.
drums.
Right.
And he just went. All right, come here, check
Okay.
this out. We're
Hey.
gonna start doing this
At
right
least-
here.
right.
And he sat and he taught me how to tune
That's
drums,
cool.
and he taught me, you know, some tricks that I use to this day
That's awesome.
for tuning. So
That's awesome. That's
so it was
awesome.
cool. But
Yeah.
we played that whole thing live because he was like, "Have you ever used a click track?" And I'm like, "Never." He was like, "Well, then I guess we're not using one." And I'm like, all right, cool.
Well, I thought live. If you played live, it was live.
Yeah,
So you know, like,
but,
why do I need a click track?
What's hilarious is though, yeah, we recorded it. It was great, sounded beautiful, and everything like that. We're sitting in the studio, like, I can't believe this is us. It sounds so good.
Right,
And then
right.
he just sat there and he was like, "You speed up every chorus, and then you slow down every verse. Listen." And then we start listening to this, and I'm just like,
picking it apart.
and then once I heard it, I was like,
shit.
"Oh fuck, man, he
Yeah.
is so right." He was like, "You're lucky your band follows you, so this is workable."
Okay.
And so
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
good, that's
we
good.
did the whole thing, and I was like, it sounds, the production value is so
Yeah,
great
right.
on it. But once he taught, it's like one of those things that once I heard it,
Yes.
I couldn't unhear it. And
Exactly.
so I had to. That's when I got the V drum kit and just started focusing on trying to keep up with the click track
Right,
and
right.
actually get my tempo
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
sharp.
Because
Because
you
yeah,
know-
he was right. I was like every single time. Once I went to a different part of the song, I either sped up or slowed down.
Right.
One of the two.
But I
you
mean,
know?
when you record, you gotta realize that once you put it out, that's forever.
Yeah.
In other words, so if you hear it this year, next year, 5 years from now, and like I said, if you're not happy with it, it's out there. It's too late.
Yeah,
It's too
yeah.
late. You've
Oh, yeah.
you've already committed to putting it out there. But I see
yeah.
how they could be so critical.
Yeah.
Because well,
That dude, and that guy, he's just one of those people.
Yeah,
where
well,
he's,
sure.
He's
Stickler.
gonna be
He's a
like,
stickler.
"What do you think of this?" And he's gonna be like, "It's not that great."
Right.
You know, he has. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
which is
you know,
great
you
because
gotta
like
have people like that.
I'm glad that I had him because you know that taught me a lot of stuff
Sure.
very early on.
Sure.
So I got to break a couple of early habits
Right.
that I was
And
developing.
that's good.
You know,
That's
so.
good. So back to equipment. So what I mean, your choice of drum, say brands or whatever. I mean, what do you like? What do you don't like? Or what have you stuck with? I mean, about your equipment?
I mean, Tama was always, my big one.
Okay.
I had a Rockstar for a very long time, loved it, and now I'm gifting it to my son, who's now playing the drums.
That's awesome.
So, and he's doing great with them. But I haven't been too big of a loyalist. I mean, if something sounds good, it sounds good.
Sure.
And I used to have this. Oh God, I had a Ludwig that. It was Mother Pearl. I mean, it looked like Ringo Starr's kit.
Oh, okay,
it was so nice.
Yes.
It was so nice. And I lost it
Oh,
by dumb shit.
Right.
But I mean, I fucking pawned it.
Well,
and I didn't get it back.
Yeah.
So
I understand that.
miss that kid. But I think we all have one thing we pawned.
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely
everybody.
we have it.
But
yeah.
I loved that kit. But right now, what I'm working with is a D drum kit.
Okay, the D
That's
drum kits. Okay.
a maple.
The maple. I was going to ask you like the
I
maple?
love maple.
Okay.
As far as
Awesome.
wood is concerned,
Yes.
I love maple.
Sure.
It's just a richness to
It
it,
is.
that
It
I mean,
does.
birch is good and everything like that, but I don't know. Maple has always been something that
Yeah.
it's warm.
Yeah,
them
are always
it's warmer than birch.
Yeah, they're always that's always the top two. Because the birch are a little more louder, they sing a little more. The maple's always got that warm, and especially when you got it in the recording.
Mhm.
And, I mean, just that tone, dude. That tone is just
it's so
amazing.
funny that that I do punk rock and loud drumming and things like that, where you would normally want birch, but
Sure,
I
yeah.
like having that warm maple sound
Yeah.
being pushed.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's
It's,
what
so it's like so it's a little more. It's just a little deeper,
Okay,
and
so-
I don't want it to cut as much. I want it. I want it to.
Okay.
I want
To be there.
Yeah, I want it to be more of a solid punch.
So
you
okay, so then what's your choice of heads? What do you think goes with that?
I mean, and this is the thing. I've kind of always gone back and forth. Remo pinstripes, clear heads. On my toms, all clear. On my bass batter, always
Okay,
clear heads.
okay, always clear.
And then
Sure.
coated for the snare.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like coated heads on toms. That's like I could get along with almost everything as far as someone's drum set is concerned.
Yeah.
But I fucking hate it when there's coated heads
Like
on
mine?
a tom. Yours sound good though. These sound good, but I mean, I'm like, which is why I'm actually really digging this kit. And so you're actually kind of changing me on that. But that's usually been the one thing that was like, I don't like it. I just like a little thickness, I
Sure.
feel like the coated heads
I see what
kind
you're
of
saying.
take away from that
Yes,
thickness,
I see what you're
know?
saying. Well, like I said, back in the '70s, that was real popular all the time, and
Yeah.
I used to always have just one kid.
And it could
You know,
be that kit that my dad had that was all Frankenstein's.
Yeah.
Because of course they
Yeah.
were coated heads.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the
That's all
time
we
I got
had.
to them, they were just
Yeah,
they were the
dead.
saddest
They were dead.
things
They
in
were
the world.
deadheads.
So
But no, dude, when I was playing for a long time in the metal and playing hard rock and stuff, I definitely went to the pinstripes, and I was
love pinstripes.
that's all
man.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, because that was
But
right.
dude, Evans also, man.
Yeah.
Like they made this hydraulic one that oh my god, that one's great. And of course Aquarium,
Yeah.
I mean Aquarians you can't go wrong with
No,
that.
you
But
can't.
I mean my budget we can go wrong with that. That's usually why
Yeah.
well, so it's like one of those things where I'm like I'm probably gonna get some Remo pinstripes. But if I had the cash flow, I'd probably be
Yeah.
getting Aquarians on everything.
Yeah,
So
because I mean stuff like that does well, you're talking each drum, so you're talking 20, 40, 60.
yeah, no, it piles up real quick.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
then when you get to the bass drum, you're like, holy shit, that's like $50. So yeah, I know what you're saying, dude. It's not cheap.
Well, it's kind of like cymbals, man. Like you
Oh, yeah,
dude,
same thing.
cymbals. I mean, I get what I can afford, and also I look at it and I'm like, how long before this is gonna break? Because, man, I wish I could. I should have taken a picture of my ride cymbal graveyard because I've got one up at our studio. And I've just because a lot of times once one gets cracked and goes a little dead,
And you're talking a ride cymbal here?
ride cymbals, and that's the thing is everyone's always been like, well, how the hell do you
How
do
the
this,
hell do you
man?
crack
I
a ride
crack
cymbal?
ride cymbals. I have
Really?
like about 6 different ride cymbals
Holy
that are just destroyed. And a lot of times what I do is I'll take them down, put another one on there, and then if that one starts breaking a little bit, I'll go through the pile and be like, which one's worse or which one's better, put it back on and
You
play
don't
through
cut like
it.
a little chunk out of it? to
No,
keep it
I'm
going?
too lazy, man. Everyone's always told me to do that, and I'm
Or
just
drill
like,
the little
whatever.
hole, like drill the
Yeah,
hole
no.
right in front of the crack.
I
and
hit it
stops.
hard. I hit it
You're
hard.
like, no,
There's
it
no
goes
point.
this way.
There's no point. It's like we'll drill a hole and it'll just be like whatever. Like it's not gonna.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like me going to the fucking Rio Grande and just putting a couple sticks in the middle and be like, this will divert it, right? This is gonna be fine. Like,
So
no.
what cymbal brand? I mean, or does that matter?
Zildjian.
Okay.
Zildjian.
So you're a Zildjian guy.
Yes, I would prefer Zildjian.
Just the A series, or
I mean, right now it's just sort of like the what can I afford series. Like what I only buy used cymbals.
Sure.
I never buy brand new because I'm like when I look at it, I'm like I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like I'm taking you home so I can destroy you.
The crap.
So I don't want to go get something brand new. It's sort of like buying a brand new car for like doing like destruction derby or something like that.
But you play a lot, so I can see that reasoning that like why do I want to buy a brand spanking new cymbal when it's just gonna
die
shit, in a few months.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I see that. I totally can relate to that. And you can get good deals at the pawn shop. You go, you see some cymbals, like, hey, this is only $100.
Yeah.
And that's half of what a brand new one costs. So I can see that.
That's why, almost anytime I grab a cymbal, like it's already been worn off. The
logo's gone.
You gotta look for that little Adidas, stamp or whatever.
Stamp.
Yeah.
So are you a single bass pedal guy, or are you so you're
single?
I mean, just
single.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Well, tell me. I mean, because everybody pretty much plays double. Of course, you know that.
Yeah.
So why do you stick with single? I mean, because of your music, or just because you don't care to do the other stuff?
I just like. I mean, it's a little bit of all of that. I mean, definitely the music. Nothing I ever play is going to require a good steady.
Yes, I got you.
It's for accents. If it was for what I'm doing, and I can do that with my single pedal. I can. I've got I can't even remember the heel thing. I can I can do those things.
John Bonham, I mean, he invented that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like I can do those little things.
Yeah.
And John Bonham is that's been one of those people I always looked up to.
Okay.
And
awesome.
So like I love playing with just I like to I like to be a little bit minimalistic when it comes to drums, Like I don't do a lot of drum solos, and I don't do anytime. That's right. There's been times where people have asked me to do drum solos, and I've just been like, I'll just stop and then just be like, dum dum. There you go.
There you go.
Can we fucking move on?
Yeah.
Like what's with me is I love music. I love playing, but I love music, and I love being a part of something. And that was one cool thing when I was playing viola. First, you're practicing when I was a kid. You're just practicing on your own, playing all this shit that just doesn't even make any sense. I even remember we were about to get in the orchestra, and they give us sheet music to "Ode to Joy." I know that song, dun 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 dun. So I already know that song.
You already know that song.
And I'm like, fuck yeah! But my parts were weird because the viola. Okay, you know the difference between a viola and violin?
No, I don't.
Violin is a tiny little guy, and
Yes.
viola is just a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger.
Little bit, and our strings are just a little bit lower. It's like one step lower. So it's kind of like just a little bit of a bass to the violin. So my parts were sounding weird, and I was like, this doesn't sound anything like the song. Then we get in for our first rehearsal with the entire orchestra, and I'm here dun 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 ba ba, and you're like, oh god, okay, I get it now, I get it. And doing that, once I got into orchestra and we started doing that feeling I got when you're doing something just like a harmony where the one like with the harmony of singing where there's one guy going like blah 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 blah. Yeah, that sounds horrible when you're on that monotone, but then you hear everything else and that harmony comes together and it
comes
just
together. You're like, holy crap!
Like that was like the icing on the cake. And so once I started playing drums in bands, I think I took more of that where it wasn't like I want to try to show off what I can do. I want to feel that chills, the goosebumps from everything just meshing and just like coming together. So it's like I've always like try to keep a little more minimalistic. But yeah, with my single bass, like I just like it better, and I like what I can do with it. And again, same thing.
Yeah.
My music doesn't really
require a lot of double.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to get into some blast beats and stuff.
Blast beats.
I would have to fucking learn how to do that, but I'm not doing that. So
that's cool.
I got my thing going on.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's pretty unique because, like I said, nowadays I'm
I'm a dinosaur. Like I'm almost extinct.
Yeah.
I mean, we were seriously
I can relate to you on a lot of things like that. I'm the same way.
I'm of a dying breed, but I love that. That makes me feel even cooler.
That's cool. That's cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
So back to the band, Urge to Be Dead. Y'all have a lot of stuff on social media.
Yeah.
Do you have a site like where you can go listen to the music? I mean,
Yeah,
everybody doesn't.
We're on Spotify.
Okay,
we are on Spotify.
okay.
We're also on Bandcamp. Our older albums are on Bandcamp. So
Bandcamp,
if you want to like
Bandcamp, you hear that?
if you want to do a little deep digging, you know,
Okay.
and deep dives, go to our Bandcamp. And if you want to throw us money on that, that would
Okay.
be lovely because we're musicians. We
Yeah.
don't have that stuff.
I know, that's
We
why we
need
got
that
tip
money.
jars. Big old tip jars. If you see that big old plastic thing out there, that's where you're supposed to donate.
Just hook us up, you know.
Because we know musicians just don't
If
make a
you
lot
if
of
you
money.
like it, you know, donate a little bit.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's so cool that you're from Wichita Falls, the band is and everything, but y'all play a lot of shows, in Dallas. I mean, the crowd reaction. I mean, as far as the just real quick, your crowd here versus there. I mean, how would you describe the relationship?
It's different here because we've carved out
Yes.
the path for ourselves here.
Yes.
And it took a long time for us to get there.
Sure.
It took us a long time to get
Yeah.
anyone to even
Yeah.
pay attention to us.
Mhm.
You know, which I know our name has always been weird. And I'm the one that pushed for the name. Nobody else wanted it in the band, but I wanted it because it was I thought it was cool, but it was completely different, and it was one of those deals where if you remember the name, if you could just remember the name and you search us, you are only going to find us. You're not going to go through and find three other bands or have to sift through everything being like, what the hell?
That's
awesome. I
awesome.
learned that when I was in a band called Au Contraire. Finding anything of ours online would pull up a million different articles where somebody just said Au Contraire, Au Contraire, Au Contraire, something French here, and I'm just like, oh fuck, man, we couldn't find anything. We were not easily traceable.
Right.
So
right.
I took that into account when we were coming up with the name for this
So who
band.
came up with that name?
Me.
You did?
Well, I mean, I took it.
Okay, wait, it doesn't matter. Just
it's from my favorite zombie movie ever, Return of the Living Dead.
Really?
Which is it's 1984, I believe, is when that movie came out, and I saw that when I was a kid, and that was when I saw punk rock boobies and naked woman. And I loved it. It was great. She was very naked, and I thought it was just amazing.
That's cool.
But no, there's a scene where it's the dumbest movie in the world. It's so fucking funny. I love it. It's so campy and just. It was one of the first movies where they were like, "Man, we need to just kind of make fun of ourselves here," and they did. It's so great. But there's a scene in there where they're talking to the zombies because the zombies can kind of talk in this one a little bit. And they ask her why why are you eating brains, and she's like, because it relieves the pain of being dead. And then the guy lifts up and he's like, it hurts to be dead. I was like, oh shit. And I don't know why.
Did you know instantly? I mean, did it just...
Yeah, no. Well, I'd already seen it years and years before. I loved it, and then I found it again.
Yeah,
I was on TV or something, and I was like, oh fuck, I remember this movie. It's my favorite shit ever. And I was smoking some things and just sitting there in my living room, and. I don't know. That part came up, and I was like, it hit me like that. Like that's cool. All I fucking wanted.
Yeah, no, it's
I had to push for it because everybody else in the band was like, they were not all about it. But what I did to win that one was I was like, give me a name, and every name that they came up with, I fucking typed it into Google. It was like one band. 2 bands. I feel like no.
You're right. Now, if you're trying to start a band and you come up with the name, you gotta have to punch it in there because darn well somebody somewhere's got that name.
I feel bad for this kid I met in college. So I don't feel bad for him. I felt bad because I met this kid and at one of our shows, and he was like, I'm trying to start a band. I've got a band now and stuff. And I was like, cool. What's the name? And now I can't remember, but it was just a simplistic, First Kiss or something like that. Right. And I looked everywhere for this kid's band, and I just couldn't find it. I put band in, I went everywhere trying to find it, and it's just there's just so much stuff with what he named off that it's
associated with it.
Yeah, it's and this is hopefully a lesson he'll learn. Try to come up with something that's going to be, as long as somebody can remember it. Yes. They will find you, as opposed to I can remember it, but I can't find you. I mean, that's that doesn't work out.
It don't work out.
But I took that name from Return of the Living Dead, and it's cool too because a lot of people, throughout the years because it's a cult classic movie. There's been a lot of people who've been like, oh fucking Return of the Living Dead, yeah. So it is like a punk rock zombie movie too. So I thought it fitting.
Let me get your input real quick on in-ears. Do you use them? Do you like them? Do you want to use them?
Never used them. I've thought about it. I mean, I probably would if we could get everybody on board and get it all, going and everything like that. But, I mean, I can play with a click track.
Right.
That I've got, so
sure.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Okay. I'm just curious because some people do, some people don't. Some people don't like them. Some people do like them.
It's like another expense, and on top of that,
it's always
another expense, and on
always.
top of that, like it's another thing that seems like it would just take a little bit longer during a sound check, and the rest of it. I just want to get up there and fucking do it.
I
so
understand.
now, if I get somewhere where I've got some guy loading my equipment, setting up my drums, and driving us wherever, fuck yes, let's do it. And you guys take care of all of it. I'll show up and you hand it to me, and then we'll go from there.
There you go.
But in the situation we're at right now, I just want to get up there and do it.
I totally understand. I like the ambient sound. I really do. I've tried it once, and I mean, I guess if you mess with it long enough, you might get used to it. But to me, it took away. I don't know, dude. I like hearing raw, fucking sounding guitar, bass, and singing.
It's tough to get away from
like
what you're talking about. The when you kind of lose that sound when you're in it. I found it before to where I found the sweet spot where I can listen and still get into it, still do that stuff. So I think I could do it, and I understand the importance of it with certain things. I remember we used to play with this band called Paulson, and they were great. And there was especially one song that just had this really cool in the middle. Their chorus was like this disco beat, just this open hi-hat, while the guitar is doing its thing. And it's one of those songs where I understood when I started realizing they were using in-ear monitors that's one of those songs that you speed it up a little too much and it's going to be a completely different song. Slow it down too much and it's just going to sound sluggish and horrible. Right where they had it was a perfect spot. That little disco beat with the way the guitar was picking and everything like that is perfect. But if you went too fast with it, just a little faster than that, that's when it starts like you're tripping over yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Or if you're going too slow, it's just dragging.
Sure.
But the way they did it was perfect every time, and I did like that. And I did think to myself, a couple times like, it might not be a bad idea.
It might not be a bad idea.
But it's just.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's everybody.
I'd love to try, but. Then again, money.
Yeah.
Who's gonna buy this shit? Who's gonna program it? Who's gonna fucking do all this shit? I'm not.
Somebody.
I'm not doing it.
I need to worry about more important things like playing the damn drums.
Exactly.
Real quick, your top 5 drummers, inspiration-wise, influence-wise, who would you say they are?
I mean, Dave Grohl's my number one.
Okay.
That's how I learned how to separate my limbs.
Right.
Which I'm happy with my son right now. He's 13, about to be 14,
cool.
And he took my advice. What I did was the entire catalog, Nirvana, Nevermind, every song on there. If you can learn all of those, you will be able to separate your arms and be able to do things, beyond it. It's like learning how to do an ollie in skateboarding. Then you can go do kickflips and stuff.
Exactly.
Learned with that. John Bonham, definitely that we talked about. Like I remember seeing his fucking giant hi-hats and just being like, "That's so cool!" I could just oh my god, it's like he had crash cymbals as hi-hats. They were so fucking huge, dude. And just the way he played was real cool, it's almost like Drunken Master, type of kung fu. It's just
he was just
cool.
He was so powerful and we're talking.
He was powerful, and
70.
he had a weird swing to it,
Yes,
which was cool. It was a very laid back. That's why I say the Drunken Master thing, because it's very just
Right.
But that was the deal. Is he's one of those people that and I feel like I'm this way as well. I'm not trying to equate myself to him, but where I just started doing it. That's been one of the toughest things about trying to teach my kid. Because I'm bro, I didn't teach. I wasn't taught. I just figured it out. I just started fucking doing it, and it just kind of. I go more off of feeling, and that was one thing with John Bonham was he goes more off of feeling. It's even with timing and stuff like that. It's how many times? And I'm I don't know. I just this many times. Just listen for me. I'll open the hi-hat right before we go. Just bring it up like that, and or I'll give a taka, But okay, so Dave Grohl, John Bonham, of course Neil Peart.
Of course.
The
Professor.
Like
I was telling
everybody's
the
gonna
other
say that, but it's come on.
2112 completely made me rethink drums.
Yeah.
When I heard 2112, I'm like, holy shit. I'm over here playing just regular beats, and then this comes along.
I had a weird little band called. It was just a 2-piece that we. It was a weird shit. it was so fast.
Uh-huh.
We just went fast and fast and fast.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do funk beats and weird beats, Neil Peart style beats, as fast as possible. And I went back and listened to it. My friend sent it to me.
Mm-hmm.
This was over 25 years ago. And I listened to it and I was like, how the fuck did I go that fast?
Yeah,
like, it was way faster than anything I remembered. But a friend of mine was just like, dude, you remind me of Neil Peart with that. Just because I was doing a lot of weird shit, so. But yeah, Neil Peart, of course, definitely. Jimmy Chamberlain from Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay, yeah.
That's where I learned how to do like ghost notes and stuff like that. Was playing along with Smashing Pumpkins.
Right.
I didn't know what ghost notes were.
Right.
And then one day I think I just like dropped my stick a little bit and just
and
I'm like, was that it? Is that how he does that shit?
Yeah.
And then I started kind of doing it more and more. And I'm like, oh my god, like and I went from there on that. And funny enough, I fucking hate the Dave Matthews Band. I don't want to listen to any of their shit. But Carter Buford is one of mine because I mean, like, I actually. I read so many articles on him. I would get Modern Drummer and just read a lot of shit. And he was the one that I read that he practiced on pillows because there's no resistance.
No, there's not.
And he was like, it'll help build up your strength.
Yeah.
So I started doing that for a very long time in my earlier days. I should start doing it again, but it did. It helped me out. It helped get my sticking a lot better and a lot more precise.
Because everything's in the wrist. I mean, pretty much everything's in the wrist. You don't have to be slamming like a sledgehammer. You can get a lot of finesse and a lot of power actually out of your wrist, but you got to work at it. You got to work at it. That's why you got rudiments. If you do rudiments and you're working on rudiments, your wrist will start developing.
Oh yeah.
And you can start doing some killer licks. But it looks effortless. And I think a lot of the great drummers, that's what they got is they can do these fills, but it looks effortless.
Yeah.
But they sound killer. You're like, how can you get all them beats in that, but without going fast,
Yeah.
Because he's doubling and tripling up on his hits and stuff like that. Sticks. Are you a nylon tip guy or a wood tip guy? Wood tip guy.
Yeah,
okay.
I've thrown every single nylon tip I've ever had within 2 songs.
Really?
At least, yeah. And then I'm left with that pokey little, I'm going to stab your head.
Yeah.
Stick.
You're like, oh shit! You're like, get rid of that guy.
No. I
really
I fucking hate nylon tips. I fucking hate them. It's just it's like I can use them and everything like that. But if I'm going to, I will not buy them for my band because it'll 2 songs, 3 songs max, and one of them's popping off, and then I'm left with that fucking piece of shit. So yeah, I don't do that. Yeah, my kid asked me that a little while ago. He's like, I'm kind of liking nylon tips, and I was like, that's cool. Yeah, do that. And he was like, well, why don't you use nylon tips? I'm like, dude, they just. All right. Once you knock one of those things off, and you see that little head killer right there, it's not good.
That's why it's interesting to interview y'all because I get a whole different perspective because one guy likes this, one guy doesn't like this. But it's whatever you like and what you don't like, and you're used to doing. Yeah. And that's what's cool. You make it work for your situation. Yeah. And that's all that matters. Mm-hmm. But you do what you do, and hey,
I love my wood tips though.
That's
definitely.
awesome.
ProMark, in fact, that's my ProMark. My Neil Peart. I use the Neil Peart.
Hickory.
No, maple.
Oak.
Oh,
okay. Oh,
sorry, I went back to my drum set. No, the oak.
That's pretty hard stuff there.
But yeah, it's the Neil Peart series, signature series. That's my stick of choice. If not, I use like Vic Firth 5As.
Okay, I was gonna say
that's my backup.
What
is
was the
Vic
size
Firth.
that you
it's 747.
Okay, but I mean they're basically like a 5A pretty much.
It's close. 747s, man. It's funny because they are more jazz.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing is like I use jazz sticks.
Okay.
But I hit punk rock and I hit them hard, so I kill sticks along with cymbals. I don't know. I'm very weird. I don't understand how I even came about. I don't know.
Hey, it works. That's all that matters. It works for you.
It's
it works
fun.
for the band.
I like it.
And you're killer. And y'all have a really cool thing going. And I hope you keep going.
Dude, I can't stop. It's been.
That's awesome.
I mean, fuck yeah! I started playing drums in what was that? Yeah, so 14. So that was about 90. Yeah, something like that. It's been a minute. Been a minute. I can't stop.
Okay, that's good. And I don't want you to stop. We need more just guys to keep on doing what they're doing and just be around. Do you mind? You want to hear him? We want to hear him play, right? My people here that like to see this, they always want to see you take the drummer take us out. So would you be willing to do that?
I would.
Okay.
Can I bring my wine?
You can do whatever you want with that
my wine back over here. All right.
Kevin Gilmore on the drums. this guy. He's a very well-known guy here in town.
I'm
He
an
plays in
okay
a
known guy.
dude. You play in a pretty, I mean, well-known band. Y'all play a lot. That's awesome. You should be really proud about what you've accomplished. You really should.
Well, thank you very much.
Anyway, play what you want. Play as hard as you want. Just take us out.
All right.
Kevin Gilmore. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.